you can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
It's a latter-day prophet, baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your host on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
Well, hello out there all across this great republic of ours and around the world. It's that time for the Conservative Syndicate. Once again, coming to you live coast to coast and around the world where it's prime time somewhere all the time. Glad to have you with us this great Friday afternoon in the greatest nation in the world. At least currently, and I say that just kind of half-heartedly joking with you, because I do believe that the American people, at least enough of the American people, are waking up and will rectify the greatest wrong that this country has had in the last 8 years, and that is electing somebody on the basis of their color rather than their character. If we can just kind of reiterate Martin Luther King's great famous quotation. Glad to have you with us today. I am your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. Let's get him on the line here. How you doing today, Joe?
Oh, good, John. Just wonderful. It's Friday. Yay for us. We survived.
Yes. We powered through the week, and we're sitting here at the end of it. We got something today. I know you're not hearing this out there across all the other talk shows. I don't care who you're listening to, whether you like Limbaugh, Hannity, or any combination thereof. We're going to be doing something that nobody's talking about, and it's not talking about a Venezuelan Miss Universe turned porn star.
Piggy, you're a piggy.
Nope, we're going to be talking about something much more important, something that we've talked about a lot on this show, and I know has not gotten a whole lot of airtime on some of the big names out there. And that is the changing of the guard on ICANN, the internet. We know that we reported on this show about the net neutrality deal that took place, where the FCC has seized control of the internet with little contesting from the Republicans. You know, those great warriors of limited government, the great champions of limited government, just let it go. And now we're turning over the complete control of ICANN, the domain name issuers, into foreign hands. And there's a big, I guess the argument out there by the leftists is that's not really what's happening, but it is what's really happening. And we've got some points. I'm not going to give away the show here right at the very beginning, because I had something else here I just want to cover real briefly. And I'm waiting for this. The only reason I'm covering this because I'm waiting for it to make it through the leftist portals until somebody can figure out how to channel this into the Trump-Clinton campaigns. Okay, that is Philippines. Rodrigo Duterte, the president of the Philippines, in his speech in Davao City, where he was once mayor, he's now president of the Philippines. If you don't know, returning from Vietnam, Duterte told reporters that he had been portrayed to be a cousin of Hitler by those who are criticizing him because of his extrajudicial killings going on over in the Philippines.
He looks nothing like Hitler. Yeah. I've seen pictures of Hitler and this guy, and they don't look any way the same.
Well, with all the genetic manipulation over there, you never know, Anyway, so he said, and he didn't say that, appropriately so, he's not a brother of Hitler or anything. He's a cousin of Hitler, okay? Making the note that, the DNA is the same somewhere down the line, that kind of stuff, okay? Noting that Hitler had murdered millions of Jews, Duterte said, there are 3 million drug addicts in the Philippines. I'd be happy to slaughter them. If Germany had Hitler, the Philippines would have, he said, pausing and pointing to himself. My victims, I would like them to all be all criminals, to finish the problem of my country and save the next generation from perdition. So he kind of took a liking to that label, being called Hitler in the sense of exterminating all the drug addicts in the Philippines. Now, as I've said, I'm not a great fan of this guy's methodology. But I am a fan of his frankness. Even if I don't agree with it, at least he's upfront about what he thinks and what he believes, and he doesn't shy away from anybody. But I thought it was interesting how the first leftist to grab a hold of it is, of course, the Anti-Defamation League, that great organization. So you know what I had to do here, Joe? I had to look up what the Anti-Defamation League was about.
It's about being not defaming people.
Well, sometimes we read about these organizations and we just read the name in passing and we don't really check out who they are.
So it's kind of like military intelligence or the ACLU.
Yeah, things like that. Organizations like that. A couple that will be covering later. A couple that will be covering later when we get to talk about the internet. It will prove my point even further. But anyway, the Anti-Defamation League was founded in 1913. This was before World War II, by the way. Those of you liberals who go to college don't know this, but we'll tell you this. This was before World War I. Actually, right around World War I. Get it out, John. Jeez.
Or you could just say the Great War.
Yeah, the Great War. The war to end all wars. That's what it was gigged to be. To stop the defamation of the Jewish people and to secure justice and fair treatment to all. There is liberalism for you. Okay, there it is. We're going to secure justice and fair treatment to all. Now the nation's premier civil rights human relations agency, the Anti-Defamation League, fights anti-Semitism and all forms of bigotry, defends democratic ideals, and protects civil rights for all. Where are these guys in the argument here with Hillary Clinton?
Where are they for Black Lives Matter, for crying out loud?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, why aren't they out there with Jews' Lives Matter or something like that?
I saw a deer get run over by a car that decided to go ahead and attack the driver. So where...
Yeah, what about all those trees that jump out of nowhere? Those trees that have been recruited and radicalized by ISIS, suicide bombers,
It's a climate change.
So anyway, I just wanted the reason I brought it up, as I said, I'm waiting to see, because they're already doing it. Tim Leahy was out there making a comment the other day, had a press conference about the Philippines, that the United States isn't going to stand for this extrajudicial stuff, and he had Elizabeth Warren stand behind him. I'm saying, okay, they're getting ready to launch here. The other thing Duterte said is there will be no U.S.-Philippine military exercises until he's out of office. He said, I'm not going to allow it. He thinks it'll upset the relationship that they have with China, which he feels is fragile. And I can kind of see the thinking of that, but he's going to hurt his economy by doing this, by the way.
Oh, yes.
Because the globalists know how to play this game, okay? They'll just squeeze him until such time that he'll either give in or, that one bullet that's out there waiting for him will find its way.
Well, if you doubt that, see what they're trying to do to Britain over in Europe with the EU.
Yeah.
Same crap. It'll be the same thing.
And the other thing that caught my eye on this is outgoing President Benigno Aquino, known as Noynoy Aquino, had warned 2 days before the election that Rodrigo Duterte's rising popularity was akin to that of Hitler in the 1920s and 1930s. I hope we learn the lessons of history, Aquino said in widely reported remarks. We should remember how Hitler came to power. And I say that because... Why? Because Aquino is representative of the establishment, the globalists over in the Philippines. He is a liberal. He copied, cloned a lot of Barack Obama's views on things. Big proponent of climate change, all this other kind of crap that's going on all over the world. In fact, everything in the Philippines now is about climate change. Every freaking thing. As if you guys are going to fix pollution and the monsoons and typhoons are going to quit coming over to the Philippines.
And that crazy-ass volcano.
Yeah. So anyway, so I just it's going to wake somewhere along the line, I guarantee you, somebody's going to start channeling this into kind of like maybe a cousin of Donald Trump rather than Adolf Hitler, because Trump is actually Adolf Hitler's love child, that kind of stuff. So I just brought it up for that reason. I just wanted to be aware. So when it comes down the pipe, you'll remember, hey, I heard that on the Conservative Syndicate, that show that talks about things that nobody else likes to talk about. So we got to go to break. When we come back, we'll get into today's festivities. We will have Bob Cardosa with us from Robert Cardosa Live at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk a little bit about the Obama administration's desire to nationalize the election process over cybersecurity threats.
Yeah, there's reports today, John.
Yeah, we're going to let the government run our national elections the same way they run the Obamacare website. Okay, so stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. We'll be right back. A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing, and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you've been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
Get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we're back, and this is the Conservative Syndicate coming to you live, coast to coast and around the world right now. Nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated, the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And I want to breach this topic a little bit here before we get to Bob at the bottom of the hour. But there's a couple things that I'm seeing on a regular basis when anything coming out of the Obama administration these days, no matter what the topic is, no matter what it is, whatever the agenda is and everything else. And I think the thing that bothers me the most, more than the agenda or the policies themselves, are the sources of these policy and agenda conversations. And the reason it bothers me is because we very seldom know who the sources are anymore. There's something about the idea that somewhere along the line, the media copped to the attitude that we can just name anonymous source or unnamed source or somebody who's giving information on the condition of anonymity. Why? Because it hasn't been they haven't been authorized to speak on it.
Or senior officials in whatever department.
Yeah, whatever it is, And, Joe sent me this little article here just during the break here from MSNBC or Channel 4 New York, which is 6 to 1 after the dozen of another. FBI Director James Comey told a congressional hearing this week that he has taken the threat to election systems extraordinarily seriously. Obviously, the man who couldn't find obstruction of justice because he gave immunity to everybody that might have provided the evidence, all of a sudden has become keen on the idea that there's something out there that stands the possibility of breaching our national security. Wow. Can't find any reason to charge Hillary Clinton with obstruction of justice, perjury, or compromising classified information, even though she did compromise. That's still not. Compromising classified information apparently isn't enough to be charged with compromising classified information.
She didn't have evil intent, John.
Yeah, didn't have evil intent, right, okay. So I've seen several articles out there. The first one I saw floated at the beginning of the week that there were 18 states that had requested Department of Homeland Security to help them secure their election websites and stuff like that. Okay, and Jay Johnson. See, I guess this is the other part of this thing that bothers me.
Yeah, that's the part that really bothers me. Actually,
yeah. It's the idea that what they do is they start floating out this. There's some kind of collective idea that something's wrong out there. There's, we're not really able to put our finger on it. And we know that during this investigation with Hillary Clinton's emails, the hacking into the DNC and the hacking into Nancy Pelosi's email, the hacking into the State Department and all the other departments around the government to some degree or another, they've all been trying to point to Russia. Okay, Russia's out there just playing havoc on our in our cybersecurity system, and so and no proof whatsoever. But that's been, it always starts out with maybe, we think. Now it's getting down to this article that Joe just sent me here. It says intelligence officials, we don't know which intelligence officials, that have now no doubt that the Russian government is trying to influence the election. See, that's how they do it. They can't come out at first and just lie to you. They can't just come out initially and just say, Russia is behind all this. Because obviously the next question is, where's your evidence?
Okay. Well, and John, has this administration ever lied to the American people before?
Exactly. And that's why anybody that is giving information doesn't want to be recognized or told. They don't want their name out there. Because of one of two things. You get tied to the line, or you get retribution for being the one that's leaked the information,
If you're telling the truth anyway.
Yeah, because there's no doubt in my mind, I think they've got some kind of pool going. I think they have like a basket with everybody's name in it, and they say, okay, we need to leak this information today so that we can start to build our narrative towards what it is we actually want. So everybody pick out of the basket, and the one, the third name that's drawn out is the one that's going to be the one that has to go out and leak. You'll be Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous Source today, and you'll go out and leak this information.
Is that like Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head?
Huh?
Is that like Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head?
Yeah. So, anyway, there's a couple other things in this article. It's a very short article, but very, very informative in terms of my and Joe's contentions here about the way the Obama administration, probably, I guess we could say at this point, all administrations since perhaps H.W. Bush operate, okay? It says here that more than 20 states have been targeted in hacking attempts, far more than had previously been acknowledged. There it is. We're building on the narrative that as of Monday, there were 18 states that kind of said, we wonder or we're concerned that something's going on with our state election cyber security or something like that. And so let's run to the Obama administration and ask the experts in cybersecurity, the guys that can't run a website to save their life, let's ask them to come help us determine what's going on here, okay? A senior Department of Homeland Security official told Wednesday, we don't know who that is. All right, so some senior Department of Homeland Security, and we don't even really know if he's a senior Department of Homeland Security. It could be the janitor, and they said just call him the senior Department of Homeland Security official, all right? The attempted intrusions targeted online systems like registration databases, not the actual voting or tabulation machines. No, that's strictly Obama's job. On Election Day, the official described much of the activity as people poking at the systems to see if they are vulnerable. Now, here's my question. I'll let you answer this, Joe, because I know you probably have a better answer than I do. If the government is so keen and so in tune and so ahead of the curve in determining that somebody is trying to hack the election systems, why have they not been able to stop or identify any of the hacks that have been going on before? It would seem to me, if you're aware that somebody's trying, how did all the other things, much more important in terms of national security, people hacking in, why did nobody recognize or understand or catch on to the fact that Hillary Clinton was using an unsecured server?
Oh, what they did, but they already knew she was using an unsecured server. That's why Barack Obama used a fake name when he was emailing her on it, because he didn't want his actual name to be on the emails.
Yeah, you're right.
So that way he could lie to people. This is all crap. This is all distraction. This is all BS. And the only thing that it's good for is so if something doesn't happen the way they want it to, they can put the validity of the election results in doubt.
Yeah, or what I think they're going to go about doing is sometime between the middle of October and November is they're going to try to allow, somehow they're going to come out and say, the government needs to intercede. The government needs to oversee. The government needs to determine how all these election things are taking place in the states. We need, if nothing else, at this point in time, it may just be, we need to monitor. We need to monitor. We got to make sure all those dead Democrats get counted. That kind of stuff.
Exactly that. It's so they can put the validity of any results in doubt, period. Either way. Yeah. They don't like it one way, or they're going to do it the other way. They're going to, we checked it all and it's all good. Or we checked it all and there's much fraud. It was hacked. But it also see the articles pull out there and it says, the decentralized nature of all these voting machines out there, the state running elections, makes it much more difficult to be hacked.
Yeah, well, that's true. If every state is doing their own thing, it's pretty hard. You might be able to hack into Broward County down in Florida, but you probably won't be able to hack into too many other places. Okay.
The thing is okay. So the decentralized nature of the voting system as it is, if we nationalize it, it'll make it easier to hack.
Right. Exactly, and it'll make it easier to control the outcome. For instance,
yes, it will.
I'm hearing here. See, these are the things that are being floated out there, guys, and you just think, if you're not really paying attention, if you haven't been as obsessed with this stuff as we have been, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. For instance, I was reading an article the other day. Hillary Clinton, early voting shows that Hillary Clinton is just raking in the votes. Okay, now, I don't know if that's true or not. We just a month ago, we reported here that it was Donald Trump who was benefiting down in Florida. There was more absentee ballots ever turned in, and it was on both sides. Both sides have record number of absentee votes coming in. Donald Trump was ahead by 50 to 60. They were estimating. See, they don't really know. They can only approximate. They base it on some other information they find out there, like, for instance, the number of votes that have been number of ballots maybe that have been requested, that have been sent by a party. And so they have those numbers. We sent out 900,000 on the Republican side. We sent out 50,000 on the 500,000 on the Democrat side. So they can say, okay, now, how many of those ballots are going to come back? Well, we need to make it look like there's more people enthused about Hillary Clinton than Donald Trump. So what do? You come out and you say, well, based on information that we received from some official that we can't identify, Hillary Clinton is benefiting from the number of absentee ballots. And, well, they haven't counted those things yet. And they don't know where they're coming in from. There may be some tabulation as saying, okay, we've received, maybe the parties can say, oh, well, we received 300,000 absentee ballots or something like that. But they don't know who they're voting for. They don't know. I'm sure there's people that ask the Democrat Party for an absentee ballot because of the fact that they're Democrats or registered Democrats, but aren't voting for Hillary Clinton. But the whole idea here is to give the impression, that something's happening that may or not be happening, because that's good propaganda. The other side of it is you can also control and make, if you are going to manipulate the ballots, you've already laid the premise. We've been reporting that this was a slam dunk. Hillary Clinton's getting all the absentee ballots. Okay, so therefore, when fraud enters into the picture, it's not a big deal. It's not a hard sell. So just, you got to really understand what the game is here. Somebody sent me a Facebook thing today. I posted it on my Facebook page. If you go to the Conservative Syndicate on Facebook, you'll find it. And it says, all it says on it says, vote. This is a big one, damn it. And that's really what it's all about. How these votes are going to be manipulated as much as they can before they're even cast. They want to give us the impression that this thing is already over. They've been trying to play this game. Now now we're talking about the Miss Universe porn star. All of a sudden, I'm hearing, even Megyn Kelly fell into this. This is the issue of the campaign.
Which is what?
That Donald Trump is a sexist. This is what it's all about. Your call, Joe. In fact, when we come back from the break, let's do it after we get Bob off the air. We might get him a conniption fit. Joe has his call that was on a talk show today. And we'll play this for you, because this is the typical Hillary supporter.
Okay.
Deaf, dumb, and stupid, tunnel vision out the yin-yang, and it just will so well epitomize how people just buy into this stuff. But everything I've been watching on the news for the last couple of days on the left-leaning channels, Megyn Kelly went on it yesterday. She went after Trump's manager because, Megyn Kelly is the queen, the Fox queen of sexism. She, if nothing else, she just wants to prove to Donald Trump that she doesn't have a menstrual cycle. Okay?
Whatever.
So, but anyway, all the rest of them, all the panels, and whether I turn the TV on at night or in the morning, I don't spend a whole lot of time watching them. I'll spend 2 or 3 minutes on one channel, go to another, and see. They're all talking about the same thing. This is all about Miss Venezuela, Miss Universe turned porn star, and Donald Trump is a sexist, and therefore he's unfit to be president of the United States. Okay, well, Bill Clinton was a sexist in his own right. Hillary Clinton is a sexist in her own right.
Yeah, I got a clip we can play about that.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're coming up on our break here, so we'll get to this stuff here. But we're going to take our break, and then Bob Cardoso from Robert Cardoso Live will be calling in a few minutes, and we'll handle him. We're going to get back to talking about the nationalization of elections, and then we'll move on. We'll get back to, we're going to may dance around a little bit today, but you'll get the drift of what we're doing. Stay with us right here. I'm sorry?
I said try to keep up.
Yeah, just keep up. You can do it. And we know you can do it. You wouldn't be listening to the show if you couldn't do it. So we'll be right back, guys. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate.
State Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Ever wonder how the credit card companies make their money? Well, think about this. If you owe $25,000 on 5 different credit cards and you make your minimum payments every month, here's what it's going to cost you. Are you sitting down? You'll shell out over $13,000 in additional interest, and it's going to take over 13 years to pay off your original $25,000 balance. That's how they make money. Now it's your turn to fight back by calling the Debt Solutions Network. We'll work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. We promise we can and will reduce your debt. Call right now for a free 15-minute debt analysis. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
If you've got joint pain, let me ask you a question. Would you like a high-quality knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Now, just in case your reception isn't great, let me ask you again. Would you like a pain-relieving knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Well, if you have Medicare insurance, you could qualify for these pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And these are high-quality braces. They are very comfortable, and they've helped thousands relieve their pain. Now, I'd like you to imagine going on vacation, playing with your grandkids, just living your life again without pain. The Mobility Hotline is a referral service that connects folks with Medicare coverage and other insurance to accredited companies offering pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And don't you worry about the Medicare paperwork. They'll handle it all for you, and they'll deliver your braces for free. Call the Mobility Hotline now. The call's free. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, guys. Hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives, and I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and I think we just lost Bob.
Yeah, that was crazy. I got disconnected, then Bob's disconnected, and the whole world's disconnected.
Okay, well, let's see if we can get him back on here. We're trying to get a hold of Bob Cardoso over at Robert Cardoso Live. I know he's not doing a show today, but we're going to see if we can get him hooked up here with us. I don't know what the deal is here.
This technology thing is such a bear.
Well, I guess Microsoft is at work today. All right, yeah, we just completely lost him here. He's not even not even showing up in my listing now.
Doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't look that way. So. All right. Well, we'll see if he calls back.
Well, let me disconnect and I'll call you in another one, and we'll try the other thing, and we'll see what happens. I'll be right back, John.
Okay. All right. Let's see if we can get this back up here. And I'm
right back, John. And how are you doing?
All right. Yeah. Let's see if we can get Bob on here now. Let's see if he shows up here. Where is he at here? Come on, Robert. Oh, no, I don't see him. I don't see him as. Oh, there we go.
Somebody trying. It's the 12th caller on Bowling for Dollars tonight. Jackpot is 2.5 cents.
Well, I bet you I've got some kind of Skype update that I'm supposed to do and I haven't done.
Well, I don't know.
Robert, is that you?
Yeah, it's me. I don't know what happened.
It was on our side. Don't worry about it. No, it was on our side. Don't worry about it. We got you back. Okay, guys.
Robert, you're the next contestant on Bowling for Dollars. Would you like to go ahead and buy a vowel?
Yes, I would like to buy a vowel.
You can only choose the vowel. We choose the vowel. You can only buy the U.
Is as in F?
As in no, just you. This is a family-oriented show there, Robert. How dare you?
Well, I just meant frankly.
Frankly, you? No, that's a guy. That was that guy that was president before Truman.
Yeah, that was Franklin you.
No. Dewey actually won. It was just he conceded at the last moment to Truman. Don't believe the people.
U is that place in Philadelphia that they used to run track around, and Bill Cosby went there.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping we see that with Donald Trump. Can you imagine that the day after the election, Donald Trump standing out there with a big newspaper that says Hillary won?
You know what? From your lips to God's ears, John.
And it has another one that says you're fired.
Well, the reason we bring that up, Bob, is because we now see that there are real concerted attempts by this government to take control of the state election system in the name of cybersecurity threats. They have determined that Russia is the one behind all the hacks. They have no evidence, but they've just determined that's what it is, because I think James Comey, FBI director, is trying to deflect all the attention he's getting for not recommending charges be brought against Hillary Clinton. So now he's out there trying to tell Congress, hey, there's a bigger problem, guys. You guys got to worry about your election center. Don't worry about me and my little thing with Hillary Clinton here. Much bigger fish in the pot. That kind of thing.
Yes, because it's critical infrastructure. We must protect our critical infrastructure.
Yeah. The people that can't build a website to save their life want to take control of cybersecurity for these state elections. So anyway, Bob, what's your take on this? What are you hearing in your neck of the woods?
Well, you know what? I mean, I've heard the same thing that you have, but the truth is I don't have the same concerns that you do, because the way the states are set up, there's nothing intricately connected. The biggest problem I have are the actual poll. What's the word you want to use? Managers themselves that are at the poll locations. If they were all to get hacked, it could be a problem. But I don't see how anybody can fool around with this election. As far as the results are concerned, other than the phony stuff that's going to go on.
Well, so Bob, you're concerned about like folks like the new Black Panther Party watching the polls.
Yeah, well, they're not even really concerned. They're not stating any concern over the alteration or the manipulation of election results. What they're trying to that's going to be the end argument. That part of the argument hasn't hit yet. What they're arguing right now is that people are trying to hack in to get the registration data. This is like hacking into Wells Fargo or something like. They're going to get registration information. They're going to know who everybody is, what party they're registered for. And I can't think for the life of me why Russia would care about that. Is Russia going to start sending out mailers and emails asking for donations to make sure that Donald Trump wins? I don't think so. I think.
Well, let's see, John. Registration information. Why would they want that? Let's see. They've got your legal name. They've got your date of birth. They've got your address. They know where you work. They've got they know what your political affiliation is. What could they do with that information?
Well, they couldn't do anything whether they want, and I don't think they want it. This is what I'm getting at. They are the shell. They are the ones. It is the Democrats that are after this, and what they're doing is they're just preparing us. So if they get caught. Taking all the, figuring out who's going to do what, then they've got somebody to blame it on. See, it started out with the thought, well, maybe the Russians were behind the DNC hack. And if the Russians were behind the DNC hack, it has to be because they want Donald Trump, because Donald Trump had such an admirer of Vladimir Putin, right? That would be the thing, okay? Then it came to, well, we're pretty certain it's the Russians. We still don't have evidence. It came up in the debate the other night. Everything that Hillary talked about in the debate the other night is now coming out as a narrative for the Democratic Party. And she talked about the possibility that it was the Russians that are behind the hack. And they've been floating that narrative. Why? Because anything that comes out of these DNC hacks, they want to be able to say, no, this is the Russians planting misinformation for the purpose of damaging Hillary Clinton so that Donald Trump wins the election. So that's the game being played there. Now we got FBI Director James Comey, who's still taking heat for not recommending indictment for Hillary Clinton, telling us, well, we've got a cybersecurity threat. Apparently, Hillary Clinton giving away classified information or compromising class information is not a big a security threat as the Russians knowing what party you're affiliated to. Okay, so that's where we're at now. But it is going to lead into the narrative somewhere in the next couple of weeks where the DHS, because they're out there telling us the states are asking us for help. It's going to come out to, okay, we're going to have to step in and do something with this, and that is the end game here. So we're not quite there yet. I'm just saying right now this is the progress, the progressive way of advancing a narrative. That's where we're at right now. So we're not really sure at this point. There's nothing in regard to manipulating the results. But that's going to be the end argument. That's what I'm saying. So based on that,
and you may very well be right. The truth is,
I'm sorry?
As far as I'm concerned, I say you may very well be right. But the truth is, as far as I'm concerned, that's just calling it all hype anyway. The majority of the state houses are Republican-run at this point now anyway. And the truth is, do you really think that they're going to ask the federal government for help?
Yeah, that's my point, Bob. It's like I have not heard anything of any state secretary of state saying, please, federal government, help us with our election system. I haven't heard anything like that yet.
Yeah, you know what? I just don't believe that any state, think about it. The states want to have autonomy. Do you really think that they're going to give that up just willingly to the federal government? I don't think so.
Well, there are several states in our union here California being one I can think of off the top of my head, that would love federal intervention into the election system. We've got two people running for Senate that are both diehard liberals in the blue, and neither one of them are even recognized by 40% of our population out here. So,
but you know what, John? This election is going to be decided long before the polls close in California.
Oh yeah, I get that. I'm just using that as you were saying. Well, I don't know that if any states would actually want the federal government to get involved, and I know there's several left-leaning states that would love the federal government to get involved.
You're right, but the comment that I had made was we were talking about conservative-run state houses, and I understand that there are some liberal run state houses. And those are going to be the exception, but I think they're a minority other than a majority.
Yeah, and I agree too. That's why I think when reading this article out of CNN that 18 states have asked Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson to intervene and help them, close up any cybersecurity problems that they have. I would think they don't tell you what 18 states. They just kind of like, we got some people out there concerned. Well, that could be the janitor down there that sweeps the floor of the Democratic committee's building. That kind of stuff.
I think Jay Johnson's got his hands full with an inept TSA, much less trying to get involved in. And now all of a sudden he's got trains he's got to deal with, and I doubt that he's got the time, the manpower, or the money to deal with state issues.
Well, I would only say at this point in time that's probably all he's got to worry about, because if Hillary loses, he's out of a job. I mean,
from your lips to God's ears, John.
Amen. Preach it. Preach it.
We're talking, but here's my point. Here's the big point I'm getting to, and then we got to go to a quick break here. My point is that we have gone from suspecting the Russians as being the source behind all these hacks for the purpose of diverting and distracting from the fact that it may not be. What they want us to believe is that if the Russians are hacking these things, then the information that's coming out of these hacks is misinformation. It's counterintelligence being given by the Russians. Therefore, there should be no credibility lent to anything that is revealed. Hillary Clinton really isn't a criminal. She really isn't corrupt. It's the Russians who don't like her so much that they want to get Donald Trump in the office. That's the way it's going to go. So anyway,
but the unfortunate fact here is it's not just, and I believe the Russians are hacking us, but no more than what the United States is hacking Russia or Germany or France. And we're all doing the same doggone thing, except that it happens to be hitting the spotlight with regard to Russia and the United States right now, because Hillary needs to have some kind of defense because she is so close to losing this election. She doesn't know what the hell to do.
Thank you very much. That's exactly the point I was looking for. We got to go to a quick break. Yeah. When we come back, we'll finish our conversation up here with Bob Cardoso from Robert Cardoso Live. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go.
The Syndicate wants you. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. You can get all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. That's theconservativesyndicate.net.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you've been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk. From Real Conservatives, I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And we've got Bob with us to close out the week here at the Conservative Syndicate from Robert Cardoso Live. He streams Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 out here on the left coast and 6 to 8 out on the east coast. And we were talking about this attempt by the federal government to justify taking over the election systems at the state level. And Bob had, the last comment Bob made was probably the closest to the point we were trying to get to. And that is that Hillary is so close to losing this thing that they're just trying everything in their power. I mean, this whole thing about the Miss Venezuela turned porn star kind of thing, it's just an attempt to, get the base up and actually get them so pissed off that they may actually make it to the polls. And now, before we get back to Bob, Joe, you had a point that you wanted to make on the point that we made?
Yeah, exactly. I think Bob hit on something. He said, I'm sure we're hacking them and they're hacking us and blah, blah, blah. Just like any national interest these countries are doing. They're always trying. The North Koreans are trying to do it. The Chinese are trying to do it. Yes, they're all trying to do it. That's my point. Yes, we know they're trying to do it. But have you heard about the Chinese doing it lately? Have you heard about Ireland doing it lately? Have you heard about the Germans trying to get back at us for doing it to them? Have you? No. My point is if this was true and they were actually doing it, we would not know about it. These people aren't stupid. They're good at this. So they're not going to. They're not good. I mean, this stuff isn't going to be released about it. That's why I don't think it's a national actor like a state-sponsored government. I think it's somebody else.
Yeah, what do you think, Bob?
No, I think Joe's absolutely right. You know what? Nobody's going to go out there and advertise it. hey, listen, look what I'm doing. And I'm going to get away with it, right? Nobody's going to do that. And I think it's just a diversion to keep the spotlight off the person who's really creating the problem. And do you really put it against the National Democratic Committee to not pull all the stops out and do whatever they've got to do, whether it be legal or illegal or moral or immoral, to try and do whatever they can to get Miss Benghazi into the White House?
Well, there you go. That's an excellent point, Bob, because let's just look at the two people who were on the stage on Monday night at the debate. That was Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump won the primaries. He beat out 16 other people. Hillary Clinton had to cheat to get up on that stage.
Yeah, yep. and she had to cheat to get by one.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is that, and she's playing a psychological game. She's not saying, one of the things that she said during that debate is that she's been preparing to be president of the United States. Well, unfortunately, she hasn't been successful in the preparation, because all the experience she has is exactly what Donald Trump said. It was bad experience. She hasn't excelled really at anything. And the problem that we have is that for some reason, Donald doesn't think on his feet, because when he gets attacked, he takes it personally and doesn't use a logical rebound. He could have destroyed her during that thing.
Yeah, well, that remains to be seen if he actually is going to come out this next time and do what we were talking about all week. The fact is that Trump was not. It wasn't Donald Trump that showed up Monday night, and for whatever reason, we can speculate all we want to. I think he was just trying. I think he was overcompensating, knowing that he was going to be set up, and in doing so, he actually set himself up in a little bit worse of a way. And if he had just come out and done what he was going to do, I think this next debate is going to be like watching The View. I think it's going to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the things that she was nailing him on. Remember when he did the Howard Stern show, and he was just kind of hemming and hawing about whether he supported or didn't support the war in Iraq. And she made a big deal about that whole thing, and later on he denounced the whole thing. But what he really should have said was, you know what? I might have misstated my position way back 20 years ago on Howard Stern. But you know what, Hillary? You voted for the war.
Yeah. Well, I think he really should capitalize on his statement to her. You've been doing this for, you tell us you got all this experience. You've been doing it for 30 years, and look how screwed up it is.
35 years, and look where we're at. Why would we want more of this?
Yeah. Just while we were sitting here talking here, I just a headline shot across my internet here. President Obama and Bill Clinton went to the funeral of Shimon Peres, and I guess Bill Clinton hitched a ride with Barack Obama on Air Force One at home, and he left the president standing around at the airplane. And the video I see is Obama coming out of the airplane and yelling at Bill Clinton across the tarmac, "Hey, get up here, let's go."
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking in my back of my mind, my dirty mind here is that maybe Bill knocked one off here in the restroom with some stewardess walking by.
Well, you know what they say about Jewish girls. Oh, and I didn't say that.
Anyway, Bob, hey, we are out of time. I know it was kind of short this time because of the connection problem, but anyway, let people know how they can get a hold of your show.
Oh, you know what? I'd appreciate it if they'd, go to my website at robertclosalive.com. It tells them everything about it. Get my my app, and that's the best way to do it, because we don't want your listeners to conflict with your show. They can listen to my show 24/7 in the archives. Just go to your app store and search for Robert Cardozo Live. It's absolutely free. Download it, and you can listen to my show 24/7 whenever it's convenient for you without it interrupting John's show.
All right, my friend, I appreciate it. I hope you have a good weekend and get your situation resolved over there with your tech stuff. And
got it fixed.
We'll talk to you back on Monday.
All right, guys, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.
Okay, guys, it's time now for Edward's Notebook. We'll pay some bills, and we'll get back to the story at hand. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
Certain people are so focused on toppling America that they will even try to convince the world that protecting our borders is now bigoted. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, the Islamic bloc at the United Nations has joined forces with the likes of President Obama, Mrs. Clinton, Harry Reid, and all American progressives who have labeled presidential candidate Donald Trump and right-wing politicians in Europe who want to protect the sovereignty of their respective nations as xenophobes and bigots. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation also condemned the media outlets who report on Islamic terrorism. The Islamists blame the reporting on terrorism rather than the terrorism itself for causing civilized people to not to want to be around Muslims. I'm sorry, but the Quran instructs Muslims to kill, enslave, or brutally overtax non-Muslims. And talk about bigots. It's the Muslims who are taught from birth to hate Jews and that black people have no souls and are raisin heads. Let's not forget, it was Muslims who declared war on America and the West in 1979. So yes, America will soon protect our borders, and if progressives and Muslims don't like it, too bad. I'm Ron Edwards.
A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. The Conservative Syndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. Term life insurance. It can be a powerful way to protect your assets and your family. You work hard to earn and save your money to build a nest egg for the future. Don't let it get wiped out because you didn't plan ahead. Take the time now and make a small investment in $500,000 or more in quality term life insurance. Call the Term Lifeline and let us shop the best companies to give you the lowest rates. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. Ask about some of our 10 and 20-year fixed rate plans with guaranteed rates. Call the Term Lifeline right now for your free insurance quote. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609. You owe it to yourself to protect your family and your assets. Make term life insurance part of that plan. Call the Term Lifeline right now. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Hey, all you can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet.
Saying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Akos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Akos.
All right, hey, we're back. Hour 2 right here at the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk. From Real Conservatives, I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Akos. And, I was just sitting here looking at the internet during the break, as I always do, because I always, I just suspect that sooner or later something's going to happen while we're at break. And I want to be one of the people to, help break this news or whatever. And, the world has gotten so politically correct in so many ways. Just real quick, just a mention of this, real quick. It's not really worth spending a whole lot of time on. You all know who Tim Burton is, right? You know who Tim Burton is, right, Joe?
He's a actor, director kind of guy. Makes those crazy, funky kind of movies.
Yeah, he makes all these weird movies. I think his first one he was really famous for was Beetlejuice.
Yeah, some kind of
So he makes these really the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff like that. Kind of, the guy's a little, one brick short of a load kind of guy, but he's very, I guess, talented in what he wants to do, and because he's so warped, Hollywood really, puts him up there in iconic status.
Okay, so what about him?
Well, he's got a movie out here called Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. And I've seen some of the trailers at the movies for it. And this is one of those, it's a bizarre movie. It's about a woman, Eva Green plays the matron of this home for kids that are really weird, really have unusual gifts and stuff like that. All right. And but he's under fire right now, because the children that he chose to play in this particular movie, there's not enough diversity. Okay.
Okay. Really?
All right. It has a largely white cast, aside from Samuel Jackson. Okay, who's a sinister bus driver, and so now even the most liberal of the liberals. Because Burton is an extremely liberal guy. I mean, we're talking, his best friend is Johnny Depp, for crying out loud. It's funny that you can't even make science fiction or fantasy movies anymore without having to worry about whether affirmative action is in play or not. So
it's just more proof that the progressives, the world is not enough.
Yeah. And he makes actually Burton counters it. He says, I remember watching the Brady Bunch, and everybody was all upset that all the Brady kids were white. I'm like, yeah, well, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, okay, fine. I remember the Brady Bunch too, and I don't remember any of that kind of BS.
Well, I know this. If everybody was so worried about political correctness during the Brady Bunch, nobody wanted to bring out the point that the guy that played Mike Brady was gay.
Oh, well, that's true. I don't know if he was gay, but he certainly was. I don't know if he was unhappy or not, but he was a homosexual.
Yeah. I used a short term just for time expediency here. Okay, yeah. So I just thought I wanted to mention that you can't even be politically correct when you're among the politically correct. When you make up the politically correct segment, okay, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you can never have enough.
They're never happy. Okay, all right. Let's see. We're coming up here in our first short break here. I want to break the ice here with about the internet. That's what we're going to talk about right now, the internet.
The internet.
With an article that just came out by Liam Tung, entitled "Stop Obama Handing Over U.S. Internet Control." 4 states sue in last-ditch bid. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton: the president does not have the authority to simply give away America's pioneering role. 4 Republican state attorneys have filed a suit in a last-ditch effort to stop the Obama administration from handing control of the internet naming system to ICANN. Okay? The attorneys general for Arizona, Oklahoma, Nevada, and Texas filed a suit in the Southern District of Texas asking a judge to block the U.S. government from handing over its oversight of the Internet's domain name system, or DNS, to California-based nonprofit ICANN.
So,
all right?
That's our only hope right now, is that this judge puts a stop to it.
Yeah, and because if not, tomorrow it all kicks in.
What happens is it was part of Obama's plan, and we can trust him.
Yeah. Now, here's the deal. Well, it isn't, and I've got to argue that point. This is actually something that was talked about back in the 90s.
Yes, I get that. It was talked about a long time. You know what? And so was control of the healthcare system was talked about 100 years ago.
Yeah, and that's a valid point. The point is that the idea of doing this was talked about decades ago, but nobody ever even entertained the idea of doing it until Obama came in office.
No American president was ever going to give this up. It was America's to begin with, and it should stay America's. But there was no other idea. No president in the world was going to do it except for Barack Obama. The only other guy that might have ever put a consideration to it was Jimmy Carter. But the internet didn't exist when he was president.
And Bill Clinton didn't know how to use the internet other than to look up porn.
Yeah, and Hillary, she can't even use a BlackBerry, right?
Yeah. So anyway, the argument that's coming out of these attorney generals are that some of the domain names, top-level domain names, such as .gov and .mil, meaning, I guess, military, will be snatched from U.S. government control. And with ICANN not under U.S. control, they also fear that authoritarian regimes like Russia, China, and Iran will now have the ability to interfere with what should be free and open internet. Now, you would wonder, well, how? First of all, why? Second of all, how would these other countries, these authoritarian regimes, be able to interfere with the control of the internet in terms of access and freedom? And that's what we're going to talk about here when we get back from the break, because you really need to understand, you're going to get a great lesson here in liberal tactics and doublespeak. The way we've got this broken down, I spent a lot of time on this, and I got it down to 4 clips during a hearing, the SD 226 Judiciary Committee hearing. Ted Cruz and Goran Marby, who's taking over ICANN, and it really will give you a lesson in liberal doublespeak. So stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. We'll be right back. A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing, and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you've been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we're back. And this is the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And before we get into the details surrounding this attempt by Obama to put the internet under UN control, and that is the end game, guys. That is the end game. So that by the time he makes it up there as, Secretary General, whatever it is they call the head of the UN, he'll have everything in place to be able to manipulate any and all elections throughout the world. And if you don't think that's not the end game here, then you just don't have it together. You just don't, okay? But before we do that, let's get a brief history, or give you a brief history of the internet, how it came to be, and it wasn't Al Gore, okay? We'll let Joe do the honors here. Go ahead, Joe.
So, yeah, the internet, reason why it's been under United States control is because it was started out as the DARPANet, the Defense Advanced Research Projects, just a special group of scientists, et cetera, just working on this, trying to get initially just 3 separate computers, one in Chicago and 2 over in Silicon Valley, just to get them to talk to each other, and just in case this little thing called nuclear war would happen, and just this crazy stuff. So the military designed it. It was absolutely there, and it did not come to be as we know it until the late 80s, early 90s, when they opened it up and they allowed us to start doing the things we're doing today. I mean, that's how it grew to be where it's at. And the only reason why it grew to where it's at was because it's been free and open. And it allows for innovation to happen. That billionaire, Mark Cuban, just a little side note, billionaire Mark Cuban, a guy that's touting Hillary Clinton up and down, because he's not one of the 1% that she wants to tax the living crap out of. he had this little application, this thing that, if you remember way back in the day, called Real Player. And all it was would play audio files so you on the internet. And then he ended up selling it. And so that's how he got his money. You know, he's some real smart guy that understands about the world and its intricacies. He doesn't know about, the secret plant in the Amazonian jungle that's going to cure cancer or anything like that. He's just a guy that made an internet app that was able to go ahead and use it to bankroll his success. More power to him, but he should shut the hell up. But other than that, here's the internet, and that's pretty much what the internet is, and it's been under the United States control. The domain names, and you have to have these to go ahead, and otherwise everybody would have to, if you didn't have a domain name like the Conservative Syndicate.net, hint, hint, you would have to remember the IP address assigned to it. Okay?
Yeah.
And so it's a lot easier for people, because we are this way we are, we can think of words. And so you think of the words, you put the Conservative Syndicate.net, and that resolves to an internet address, an IP address, back on some server somewhere, some big computer in the sky, and that allows you to get our content.
All right.
But Obama wants to put that kind of control into the hands of these foreign entities who will certainly one day just love everything we as American citizens are doing.
So the internet is, let's kind of make a little comparison here. The internet is to computer systems what Windows is to DOS. Meaning that before Windows came along, you had to speak. Computers had to speak through DOS, a language, and you had to know what commands to type in. And along with those commands, what symbols. The symbols assign actions, and so you basically had to be at least an elementary level type programmer to just understand what it is you were typing in. You didn't have, I'm not talking about being a programmer, but I came into computers working for the Department of Defense. That was my first job. Working for the dispersing office, and everything had to be DOS. All the commands were DOS. You had to know how to tell the computer what to do, rather than just going on Windows and clicking an icon. You had to actually have some knowledge of the language, DOS language, to be able to have a computer talk to one another. Windows came along and simplified that. Click on an icon, click on a link. You'd have to actually know the link.
Well, but you could do that just computer, just that you're talking about just a computer. We're talking about a whole computer connected to computer, connected to computer, connected to computer all over the world. And
what I'm making the comparison to is the simplification.
Well, yes, but it's the way it ran, and the way you see it now is only because of the graphical user interface that's been allowed to make that happen. So that's what you're talking about, is that everything else is command line, because underneath what you're seeing here is a bunch of commands being generated.
Right, exactly.
But we're talking about computers connected to computers.
All right.
So without that, without the ICANN, without this domain name signatures going on, what happens is you'll have to remember all these little nodes and these little IP addresses and everything else, and it'd just be madness. But why do we have to give up control of that?
Yeah. Excuse me. It fits the ideology of Barack Obama in that, the United States is an oppressive country. We're oppressors.
Yes.
And by controlling the internet, we can oppress the world through the internet, that kind of stuff.
Yes, that's exactly right, John, because he's going to say it's about fairness. The United States shouldn't own this. We should be able to give because the internet's for everybody. It's about fairness.
Yeah, so everybody should have some level of input as to how the internet is used. Now, the one thing that's coming out of ICANN is the general argument, and the supporters of this transition are trying to tell us that the transference of DNS names to ICANN outside of just complete U.S. government control, from a private sector company to a nonprofit government contractor kind of thing, what they're trying to tell us is it's not really that big of a deal. It's not really going to affect anything. It's not really going to change anything. And so, my very first thought on that was, well, if it's not a big deal and it's not going to change anything, why do we need to do it?
Yeah, exactly. Why are we doing it?
You know, if nothing's a big deal, why are we going through the big hassle, cost, and everything else of doing something like this?
Because it takes control of it away from the U.S.,
right.
Period.
The idea being is that we want to collectively allow other nations to be involved in the decision-making process.
There you go. The decision-making process.
Yeah, there you go. And I said that to me, with Obama, it's the end game. The secret to understanding Barack Obama is this. Anything he does is for his personal use and gain. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's the idea of using the United States, our system of government, our laws, our rules, whatever, and even when he has to circumvent them, which he does most of the time. In fact, that's one of the big arguments here, is that he once again went around Congress and made a decision without getting any approval from the body of Congress, from the taxpayers, from anybody. He just decided he needed to do this.
He doesn't give a crap about the American citizens, so he's just going to go around. He doesn't care what Americans think. He only cares about those oppressed people of the world.
Yeah, because his end game is to be sitting up there at the head of the UN, having control over everything that goes out. How else do you think he did not know this when he set up his campaign in 2008? Everybody always compliments this guy on his ability to use social media.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of his biggest pluses that he used. He was one of the first to go ahead and use that, and they were trying to model it after. Don't you have some clips about this?
Oh, I do, and we're going to get into them here. But I want to solidify some of the details here. Okay, the attorneys. Let's sum up this thing with the attorneys here out of these 4 states. They're arguing that ICANN could allow top-level domains such as .gov and .mil to be snatched from U.S. government control. Now, ICANN is contracted by the Department of Commerce to administer the Internet Assigned Numbers Authority, which means the DSNA. And they have published correspondence from June affirming that changes made to .mil and .gov can only be made after gaining written approval from the U.S. government. Now, you would think on the surface that sounds great. Yeah, the U.S. government is the authority on this. But if you've got a U.S. government that's willing to compromise, pander, and give away the store for the purpose of gaining some political advantage over somebody else or something else, and with the credibility of this particular government as it stands now, the people controlling it and the people running it, what does that mean? That means, well, anything is subject for negotiation. Anything is open, and anything can be dealt out there. Anything can be done. And we know from this administration that everything they do is under the table, behind closed doors, and we don't find out about it till actually they do it. And Obama's attitude has always been, hey, sue me.
Yeah, let's see, an Iranian deal where we paid $1.something billion in cold hard cash.
Yeah. So the suit that these guys filed, these attorney generals, they're claiming that the Obama administration, by not gaining approval from Congress, violated the property clause of the U.S. Constitution, and that NTIA lacks the statutory authority to cede control of DNS to ICANN. He's basically saying you do not have the constitutional authority to go out on your own and do this.
And that's the U.S. Commerce Department, National Telecommunications and Information Administration,
right?
NTIA.
And then the other claim is that there's a threat to the First Amendment if ICANN doesn't commit to complying with its free speech protections. And I'll leave it at there. That's the main point I wanted to get out here to you before we actually get any of these clips. What we're going to be doing here after we come back from our break, I've got an article here. I listened to a portion of the hearing that took place between what's his name, Doran Marby from ICANN, and Ted Cruz, Senator Ted Cruz, who put this guy to task, I thought, very well. And he asked him particular questions dealing with the exact thing we're just talking about. What guarantees and what provisions and what rules are in place to keep ICANN from allowing itself to become infiltrated and perverted or swayed by authoritative regimes that suppress free speech. Regimes like China and Russia, places like this. And he grilled this guy pretty good. And you're going to get a lesson here, as I said earlier, on liberal doublespeak, how they actually answer things without answering anything, how they respond without giving an answer. And that in and of itself, just the context of how they do things and say things should give you pause and make you think, what are they hiding? What is it that they're really not telling us that we really need to know?
Yeah, when they're not answering the questions, and it's like, hey, what's the big deal? There's nothing to see here. Well, if there's nothing to see here, why? As we said before, why the hell are we doing this then?
Yeah, so there were several questions that Cruz asked, and I wanted some kind of narrative to go with it, something I could compare it to. I found an article out there written by Snopes back in August. The great nonpartisan, objective fact-checking site that does such a good job of telling the truth, and they were out there trying to basically say, "Hey, you guys are all worried about nothing. This is much ado about nothing," and we're going to take some of those statements made in Snopes, and we're going to compare them to clips that we have of the hearing itself, and you'll get an idea what we're talking about. Stay with us. We'll be right back here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
Red State Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Ever wonder how the credit card companies make their money? Well, think about this. If you owe $25,000 on 5 different credit cards and you make your minimum payments every month, here's what it's going to cost you. Are you sitting down? You'll shell out over $13,000 in additional interest, and it's going to take over 13 years to pay off your original $25,000 balance. That's how they make money. Now it's your turn to fight back by calling the Debt Solutions Network. We'll work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. We promise we can and will reduce your debt. Call right now for a free 15-minute debt analysis. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
If you've got joint pain, let me ask you a question. Would you like a high-quality knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? But just in case your reception isn't great, let me ask you again. Would you like a pain-relieving knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Well, if you have Medicare insurance, you could qualify for these pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And these are high-quality braces. They are very comfortable, and they've helped thousands relieve their pain. Now, I'd like you to imagine going on vacation, playing with your grandkids, just living your life again without pain. The Mobility Hotline is a referral service that connects folks with Medicare coverage and other insurance to accredited companies offering pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And don't you worry about the Medicare paperwork. They'll handle it all for you. And they'll deliver your braces for free. Call the Mobility Hotline now. The call's free. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150.
Get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we're back, and this is the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we're going to get right into this now because I've got 4 clips here, and each clips range anywhere from a minute to almost 2.5 minutes. They're kind of long clips, but you need to hear the answers here in context. So I'm going to start out first. I'm going to read you here a couple paragraphs from Snopes, who apparently went in and fact-check all this stuff to give us such an honest assertion as to what's really going on here. It says, contrary to popular belief, America doesn't own the Internet, but it does currently oversee the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, ICANN, the nonprofit entity that controls the critically important domain name system, DNS, which is responsible for coordinating the domain name hierarchy and IP addressing for the entire Internet. This week, it announced that by prior arrangement, ICANN will be cut loose on 1 October 2016, that's tomorrow, from its sole government steward, the U.S. Commerce Department's National Telecommunications and Information Administration, NTIA, and becomes answerable to multiple stakeholders worldwide, including countries, businesses, and technical bodies. Okay, now, there's 3 myths here that Snopes claims that are myths, okay? First of all, the first myth, that this transition from government oversight to private sector oversight, or the cutting loose of ICANN, it's no longer going to be a government entity, is giving the Internet to authoritarian regimes. This is supposedly, according to Snopes, a myth. They claim that the U.S. government has made it clear that we will not accept a proposal that replaces its role with a government or intergovernmental organization. The criteria specified by the administration firmly establish Internet governance as the province of multi-stakeholder institutions rather than governments or intergovernmental institutions. In other words, private sector. The private sector is supposed to be able to do this. Now, it goes on to say the U.S. government will only transition if its role, if and when it receives a satisfactory proposal to replace its role from the same global Internet community. Now, the first segment here that I'm going to play for you is Ted Cruz, and he is asking, what's his name? Goran Marby.
Marby.
about the bylaws, ICANN's bylaws, and can they be changed after the transition takes place. So let's listen to it right here.
Chairman, let's, Mr. Marby, stay focused on this question. You've made a lot of references to the bylaws. As a nonprofit, and indeed Mr. Strickling also told us we should trust the bylaws because they ensured that nothing could go out of the Government Advisory Committee without consensus. Under California law, does anything prevent ICANN from changing its bylaws at any time it wishes?
There are checks and balances built in to the system to be able to change those bylaws.
So yes, ICANN can change the bylaws. If we sit here today and say there's something in the bylaws, after the transition, ICANN could change the bylaws and remove whatever the assurance is we're being told to trust.
If you refer to as the ICANN organization, the answer is no.
ICANN cannot change its own bylaws?
As I said in my open statement and many times said before, to be able to make sure that nobody takes control of the ICANN, which consists of three parts, the community, the board, and the organization I represent, which is a support organization. I, as the CEO and president of the ICANN organization, don't have the mandate, don't have the possibility to go in and change or propose bylaw changes. The only ones who can do that is the community, which are consisting of, for instance, U.S. businesses.
So, just to clarify, your testimony is the community, the U.S. businesses who have had a questionable record of protecting free speech in the past, have the authority to change the bylaws in the future. Is that correct?
As I stated earlier, if someone really wants to change this setting, it's easier to start an alternative ICANN with another root system outside the US.
I'm not asking which is easier. I'm asking if the bylaws can be changed.
There are so many checks and balances within the system, I would say it's hardly possible to do.
Sir, this isn't a complicated question. Can the bylaws be changed? You're saying, gosh, it'd be easier to do something else. That either the bylaws can be changed or they can't.
I think I answered the question to the best of my ability. I cannot do it. The community, after all checks and balances, but the whole bylaws are built on Californian law.
And under California law, the bylaws can be changed by what you referred to as the stakeholders community, correct?
And after, there are checks and balances built into that system to all represent U.S. users and other ones into that system as well. It's not only U.S. companies that are in there as well, and therefore that's why the transition has so much support from other parts as well.
All right, so you notice there that he had a talking point, repeated it at least 3 times. There's check and balances in the system, but the gist of it is that the bylaws of ICANN, they're supposed to keep any governmental influence on the control of domain names and all the stuff attached to that can be changed. There are check and balances. What he doesn't explain what that means, but there's check and balances that I guess if somebody really wanted to go through the procedure of doing it, they can do it. They could actually change bylaws.
Yes, but it would be difficult, John.
Well, it would be only difficult in the eyes of trying to make it look like it wouldn't really be that difficult. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
The idea
make it look reasonable.
Yeah, the idea here, what you've got to understand here is what he's saying is only the internet community, meaning those businesses and institutions that are involved in controlling ICANN now or controlling the domain names, they're saying ICANN can't do anything. We can't do anything without the internet community telling us to do it.
Yeah, right.
Okay, but they're not. He's not pointing out the fact that these members of the internet community can be influenced by governmental agencies. Okay, for instance, one of the biggest proponents of one of the big supporters of this is Google. Well, we already know how Google is already trying to manipulate search engines.
Yes, and what do you think they did in Germany and places on like Facebook because of free speech? Let's remember Google in China was specifically talking Google. Yeah. Search results in China are much different than they are in the rest of the world.
Yeah, so we have Hillary Clinton out there telling us that the First Amendment needs to be regulated, and if the government can influence these institutions to agree with her for whatever, whether it be financial gain on their behalf, or whatever it is, to be able to knock a competitor out or something like that, they would be able to exert influence over these institutions, and these institutions could collectively agree, hey, we need to change some of the bylaws. Now, I want to get into the next clip here because the other problem that Ted Cruz saw was the physical moving of ICANN out of the United States into a foreign entity. And now here's a clip, and Cruz is asking him, Can this be done? Can ICANN be moved from the United States to another country?
To follow up also on your exchange with Chairman Grassley, can you tell this committee today that there is zero possibility that ICANN will choose to move abroad to a foreign jurisdiction?
I don't have the mandate to take that decision, as I explained earlier, and we have no intention of moving ICANN.
But you cannot say there is zero possibility it will occur.
I'm only representing the organization. I would say it's highly improbable to do that.
Well, then let me ask you, your predecessor, Mr. Fadi Shahadi, on February 21st, 2014, before the French Senate said, quote, "First, to begin working on the creation of a parallel legal international structure, maybe in Switzerland, for ICANN." Why was he telling the French Senate something different from what you're telling the American Senate?
First of all, I cannot read it because it's too low. And I cannot explain that because I don't know which circumstances he said that.
So you have no explanation for your predecessor making reference to creating an international organization in Switzerland for ICANN?
Neither him or me has that mandate. And if you look back to in the bylaws and how we set it up, also that the U.S. government is satisfied with the protection we built in.
Okay, so the question is, can you actually move ICANN out of the country? Now, why would they want to do that? Well, if they moved it out of the country, then the United States would have no way, any way possible of doing anything. The government couldn't come in and seize anything. They couldn't take control. They couldn't shut put marshals at the door or whatever. There would be no way to physically stop anything that ICANN wanted to do. And as you heard here, the former head of ICANN had actually told the people in France that they were talking about moving ICANN to someplace like Switzerland. Why Switzerland? Well, it's a neutral country. Okay, so Switzerland's not as neutral as everybody seems to think it is. Okay, they have zero accountability when they get involved in international affairs.
Yes.
Okay, so the idea here, what Ted Cruz is saying is, can you tell us, can you guarantee us that this wouldn't happen, that you would not move ICANN under international jurisdiction? What if they did that? They move it to Switzerland and the United States starts protesting, hey, you're squeezing these domains, you're doing this, you're infringing on people's free speech. And they were like, well, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to stop us? You can't stop us. Exactly. And that would certainly interject the UN into the argument, would it not, Joe?
Absolutely. It's going to become an international nightmare. This should not be allowed to happen. Exactly that. And the reason why they move it there is because of jurisdiction. The United States wouldn't have any jurisdiction at all.
Yeah.
It's just like Obama bitching and complaining about the World Court the other day. Oh, this because the 9/11 victims can go ahead now and sue Saudi Arabia. It's like, now we're just in trouble. It's like, we're just so darn feckless now.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking more like the Iran deal.
Yeah, well, that too. I mean, for crying out loud, this is all which should not be happening. But and you hit it right. The guy stood there and said, "Well, I don't have a mandate for that." Well, no, you don't.
No. Yeah, but you could get it if the international community, the international internet community, gave you a mandate. What would stop you from doing it?
Exactly, nothing would stop them from doing it. So,
okay, we got to go to a break. When we come back, we'll play it because the next clip. He talks about this idea of the UN trying to intercede and become influential in the handling of the internet. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go.
The Syndicate wants you. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. You can get all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. That's theconservativesyndicate.net.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washing washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakles. I want to get right back into these clips here. The second myth that's being, I guess, what do you want to say, what's the word, disproven or argued by Snopes, is that with the U.S. withdrawal from stewardship over the IANA, the International... what is it called? The International Name Assignment Authority. I think that's what it's called. Okay, they're saying the UN's International Telecommunication Union will take over the internet, making it easier for repressive regimes to censor speech online. Now, this next clip here I have is Ted Cruz, Senator Ted Cruz, asking Gordon Marby about this, particularly about the influence of authoritative regimes over the internet.
Well, talking about your predecessor, let's talk about another aspect of his record, which is that he stated, if we do not engage with China at every level of our community, we frankly lose a part of our global legitimacy. And indeed, after leaving ICANN, Dr. Chahadi became co-chair of an advisory committee to the World Internet Conference organized by China. He did so after Reporters Without Borders called for a boycott on that conference, saying that China was an enemy of the internet. Now, do you agree with Mr. Chahadi's views of China?
Maybe this is my English. I don't really understand the question.
Do you agree with Mr. Chahadi's views about China, about the legitimacy of China, about the need to work with them, even when they are censoring the internet?
My understanding is that there are about 300 million internet users in China. We are a non-political technical community that works to be able to make sure that the internet functions technically. I cannot vouch for what my predecessor said in different surroundings.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you agree with what Reporters Without Borders said in December of 2015, that China is, quote, the world's leading enemy of the internet? Do you agree with that?
You're asking a personal question, which I will now ask in a personal way, if I may. The reason I'm working for ICANN, the reason I took this job, the reason I left private sector, is because I think internet is a vehicle, as you believe, Senator, to be able to open up hearts and minds of people around the world. I don't even go close to what you do when it comes to policies, what happens on top of the internet. ICANN cannot prevent anyone, any country, any network owner to prohibit their users to be able to prohibit access to information on the internet. What we do is to create the opportunity for networks of networks, for other ones to use or not to use. It's a voluntary system.
Sir, so let me just ask this question again, because you did not answer it. Do you agree with Reporters Without Borders that China is the world's leading enemy of the internet?
I think there are many countries around the world who unfortunately prohibit access to information. I think it's bad every time.
Do you think China is an enemy of the internet?
I don't have the competence to rank those.
I didn't say rank. I said, do you agree that China is an enemy of the internet?
I think there is a highly potential risk if the transition doesn't go through, that China, together with Russia and other countries, will use that possibility to move the supervision of ICANN over to the UN.
All right, if you missed the end of that clip there, what he says, what he finally admits is that he thinks because of countries and the way they are, countries like Russia and China would move to have the control of the internet turned over to the UN.
Yes, they would.
Okay, now the idea being, of course, that they couldn't do it directly. China couldn't go to the UN, and the UN couldn't demand control of the internet. But by working through these, the internet community, meaning the businesses and the institutions that are supposed to control this, think about China's effect on the economy if they were able to exert any leverage at all. Think about Russia's leverage that they have in terms of oil resources and stuff like that. And you think that these guys aren't going to try to influence? And then who becomes the referee? The United Nations.
Yeah, and just think, if they could do it now, they would already done it.
Right. And again, just remember the end game here. Obama wants control of the internet by the time he becomes the head of the UN. Okay? Now, my last clip here, because we're running out of time, and I want to make sure I do this. Yeah. This is basically dealing with the First Amendment rights. The U.S. government transition will be blocking websites. That's the myth. And there are issues with the First Amendment. Here's Ted Cruz asking Goran Marby, the current CEO of ICANN, about that particular issue.
Me too. Is ICANN bound by the First Amendment?
I think you know the answer to that question. And
I'm asking your views.
To my understanding, no.
I want to finally make a point that the criticism, the opposition to transferring control of the internet to an international community of stakeholders without any authority of the U.S. government is bipartisan criticism. It is across the spectrum because freedom, ensuring the internet free of censorship, is and should be a bipartisan objective. I would note that former Obama administration Federal Trade Commission Chairman John Leibovitz has stated that it, quote, it was difficult for the Commission to get straight answers out of ICANN, and, quote, that if commerce cuts the umbilical cord with ICANN before these issues are ironed out, there will be a lot of risk to consumers. That's the chairman of the Federal Trade Commission appointed by President Obama. Likewise, Delaware Secretary of State Jeffrey Bullock, from the home state of the ranking member on this committee, expressed his views of ICANN in an August 2016 letter in which he wrote that, quote, legitimate policy concerns have been systematically brushed to the curb by ICANN staffers well skilled at manufacturing bureaucratic processes to disguise predetermined decisions. And likewise, I want to point to yet another famous right-wing organization, the Washington Post. The Washington Post editorial board said, quote, it's bad enough that these authoritarian governments repress online expression within their borders. They should not be let anywhere near the governance of the Internet's global infrastructure. No one has yet had a convincing explanation for how the multi-stakeholder model will be immune to pernicious influences from governments. This criticism is widespread, it is bipartisan, and it is unified behind the need to preserve freedom online. Senator.
A very good summation there by Senator Ted Cruz, and that is that there is and has been bipartisan concerns over releasing ICANN into the private sector and allowing it to be controlled and ruled through actions and opinions and influences of the private communities out there, meaning other businesses and institutions, things of that nature. And by doing so, there's nothing to say that these very institutions that are supposed to be keeping government influence at bay would not be affected by such institutions. Yep. And you can think about it, you can see this. You can see that it seems very practical to think that countries like China and Russia would try to influence institutions, especially any businesses that do business with them. What do you think, Joe?
Absolutely, it was definitely the pernicious nature of it all, as Cruz said. Absolutely, an excellent summation on that. Cannot allow this to happen. Hopefully, the judge puts a stop to it, and we can stop this before, even before Obama leaves office and after Obama leaves office, because they're not going to stop trying to do this. They want to stop and squelch free speech.
Yeah, and you've got to remember here. if Hillary Clinton gets her hands on that pen and phone when she gets into the White House, that this kind of stuff is going to come down. She's going to use things like this to try to control free speech. Guarantee she's going to try to do that stuff. Okay, since we're out of time here and we don't have enough time, we're not going to close our show the way we normally do because we just won't be able to do it. We just don't have the time for it. But we're gonna touch on this again on Monday. We're going to see what happens over the weekend in terms of being able to stop this and see if these judges down there that are this lawsuit are laid in front of can do something to stop this. And let's hope that they can do it.
Tonight is the end of the fiscal year. The government runs out of money tonight. We'll see what happens.
Oh, yeah. I forgot all about that. That's right. Okay, yeah. Government shutdowns on the horizon, too. Okay, guys, thanks so much. We want you to have a good weekend. God bless you. Again, for your continued loyalty to our show here, visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. We'll talk to you on Monday. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Conservative Syndicate, the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's theconservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best in uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, along with Joe Hako, signing off until next time right here at the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.